Business Council of Mongolia's monthly meeting was held online on December the 3rd using the Zoom platform, with Chairman Ts.Tumentsogt hosting for an audience of around 80 people. The Business Council of Mongolia was established in 2007. Since then, it has developed to become one of the leading organizations representing business stakeholders in the country. The objectives of BCM are to promote trade and investment growth in Mongolia and to provide a bridge between the government of Mongolia, the public, and members of the council to exchange opinions, to organize open discussions about key events and issues in the business environment, to work for updating laws, policies and activities that hamper economic growth, and to represent the investors in the Mongolian economy.
I am Tumentsogt. I am Chairman of Mongolia Business Council of Mongolia, and then thank you everyone for joining. And then we would like to express our gratitude to the World Bank Group and IFC for organizing this regular monthly meeting on trade facilitation and investor protection in Mongolia. And then we just a little bit about the BCM. The Business Council of Mongolia has 250 active members, and we have quite active 6 working groups ranging from taxation, mineral resources, infrastructure, and other areas. And we send out weekly newsletters to all our members, and then we conduct monthly meetings and knowledge sharing session.
The theme of the December monthly meeting was trade facilitation and investor protection.
We are quite delighted to have World Bank and IFC about their recent initiative and good work on developing trade information portal in Mongolia, really to help businesses and entrepreneurs in promoting their export and import activities. And then we believe that this is quite important for Mongolia as a landlocked country between Russia and China. And then it will help businesses in mining, agriculture, and transit trade services really to promote their businesses, yeah. And then during this pandemic, this is and promoting trade and logistical support is quite important. And then so we are very happy to have this monthly meeting. And then we have a distributed agenda. And then let me introduce Andrei Mikhnev, World Bank Country Manager for Mongolia. And Andrei Mikhnev is the experienced country manager with more than 20 years of experience with the World Bank programs in Middle East, Gulf countries, and in many countries in Latin America, Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, Middle East and North Africa, Europe and Central Asia, yeah. And then Mr. Mikhnev leads World Bank country program and leads Mongolia team in Ulaanbaatar and external country teams. And then Mr. Mikhnev holds PhD in international economics from Kiev University, yeah. So thank you for Mr. Mikhnev, and then without further ado, I would like to invite you to open this session. Thank you. Thank you for co-organizing this session. Thank you.
World Bank Country Manager for Mongolia, Mr. Andrei Mikhnev, started off the meeting by introducing the recent projects conducted by the IFC. The World Bank Group is supporting private sector development across the world and in Mongolia. It works with organizations such as BCM as well as the government, and also directly supports private sector businesses through the IFC.
It's our pleasure to be here and to have this opportunity to present the work that has been done for quite time by IFC, International Finance Corporation, which is a member of the World Bank Group. The World Bank Group in general and IFC in particular is focusing a lot on projects and programs which are supporting the private sector development across the globe. And of course, in Mongolia, we're also very active. Surely we cannot work on our own. So that's why we work a lot with our partners. Partners like business membership organizations, like BCM, for instance, and other organizations. We're also working with the government authorities at the central level and also in provincial level. And as well as, we're directly supporting private businesses, especially through IFC, which are our private sector arm, supporting investments in developing countries, as well as providing advisory services to both the private sector and also to the policymakers in terms of how to improve the private sector development. So what we would like to present to you today is really as a result of the quite intensive work that our IFC team has been doing for quite a while. It's part of our overall efforts to improve investment climate in our member countries. So what we are going to present today is really the important ingredients of the good investment climate. Ingredients in terms of improving the investment competitiveness of Mongolia. The first one will be the presentation about the Trade Information Portal. Trade Information Portal is an instrument that has been used in many, many countries across the globe. And it's absolutely essential, both for foreign investors who would like to trade with the partners in Mongolia, but also with for the domestic companies, for national companies, which would like to also to start exporting, and they would need to have different kind of information. So this trade portal that will be launching on December 11th includes almost 400 different legal documents, licenses, permits, and other regulations that everyone needs to follow in order to do export-import. Our key partners for this portal is Mongolia Customs General Authority, and they, in the end, will be the agency will be continuing to maintaining this portal. We also wanted to share with you the results of our time release study, which was completed, and it's available both in English and Mongolian. So it's really a very, very comprehensive analysis, which is using the different data collected through the real, some times ago, on the time spent on customs clearing process, both for imports and export. So I hope that members of the BCM find it very, very useful to understand what's the really time constraint and cost could be to ensure that it's actually when they're exporting or importing. What's important part that TRS report, TRS approach has been used in other countries. So you can use actually some kind of comparison and see where the time and cost could be reduced to be on par with the international best practice. We also wanted to be sure that as part of our investment climate project, the investors has a very good mechanism where when they have questions or complaints, then there is a so-called systemic investor response mechanism. We launched this project some time ago. We have a launch last summer, but we also want to be sure that we were here today also about how this systemic investor response mechanism is operating. So that's probably just an introductory remark. So I'm hope it will be very interesting for the BCM members. I hope we have a good discussions also, and I look forward together with you to the presentation from our team members on these topics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mikhnev, for this very important overview about Trade Information Portal and time release study. And then we really also believe that it will really contribute to competitiveness and then improving the investment climate in Mongolia.
One such project is the Mongolia Trade Information Portal, which is set to go live on December the 11th. MTIP team leader Mr. Paul Schmidt elaborated more on this project. The portal provides all informations required by the government, ministries, agencies and regulators for cross-border trade. It features almost 400 legal documents, measures and procedures that are especially useful for people and organizations seeking to engage in export and import. After its launch on December the 11th, the Mongolian Customs General Agency will be responsible for its maintenance and upkeep.
Brief about Paul. He is an experienced customs and ICT expert specializing in single window, trade portal, and revenue processing systems, revenue leakage, border management systems, trade facilitation, internal audit, and change management. Paul has a quite extensive experience of working on trade portal and related applications and tools in Pakistan, Laos, Turkey, Ukraine, Nigeria, New Zealand, Philippines, Angola, Afghanistan, and then of course in Mongolia. Yeah, so we have quite experienced expert in this area, and then we are honored to have you, Mr. Paul, Mr. Schmidt. Yeah, please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. The only other thing I would say is when it comes to trade facilitation, my background is actually originally in fraud as a head of the SEO of the New Zealand Customs fraud desk for quite a long time as well. So I'm quite well familiar with it. The first thing I'd like to say before the presentation is I'd like to say a thank you to the IFC, particularly to Gigi. It normally takes 8.5 to 9 months to build a portal, and that's when you can get all the team on the ground. But thanks to help from the IFC and very, very good local team that we managed to recruit from Nathan, we've actually done it in 7 months, which is something of a record. And we've done it under quite difficult circumstances, and you can't do that without cooperation, local cooperation. And it's also been done slightly under budget, which is unusual as well. There's often a lot of things, and that shows the dedication of the team, but also the value of the input from the IFC team. Now, the only other comment I'd make before we commence is a lot of people on this forum will understand what a trade portal is, but a lot of people won't. So part of the presentation, which I will keep brief, explains what a trade portal is and what it isn't. And the first point I would make is it's not a single window system. Single window systems are active processing systems. They process documents and reply to people. Trade portals are always built before you commence a single window. That's the best practice. And unlike most software systems, you can completely reuse all the material from a trade portal to inform your single window system before you start. So effectively, it's a library program. In terms of trade facilitation, it's very, very important because it provides transparency to small and medium traders in particular. So they know exactly what they need to do to trade in commodities and also what they don't need to do. So it's always a first step, a good first step in any trade facilitation program.
Mongolia Trade Information Portal has been developed, and then it's very good news that it's a 98% of completion, and then it will go live on December 11th. And then quite important that it's also that it's very less costly to update and maintain the system. Yeah, excellent presentation. Thank you. 2 questions from Mr. Jarlsachen and then Mr. Mikhnev, this BCM board member, and then CEO and chair of Gund Investment, Mr. Jarlsachen is asking 2 questions. Yeah, and then one is whether the World Bank would be interested in conducting research aimed at developing a reference model of Mongolian society which supports economic freedom, and then whether and second question is whether findings from the studies will be is there any interest to involve systemic analysis on the findings? This is also a question related more to Gigi as a leader of this work. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you very much. I suggest, I think from the first question, we've been doing quite a number of studies, right? If I understand correctly the question, like economic freedom, the level of economic freedom is not exactly what the study or comparison we've been doing globally, but we have quite a few studies which are looking at different aspects of the economic development. So what I suggest for this member, he or she can directly communicate with me probably afterwards, and I will be happy to follow up on what kind of studies we've been doing so far related to that and what we may plan to do. But I would need a little bit more details, what's exactly this person is looking forward. In terms of the second question, I think Gigi would be better in position to respond to that. But let me just add one thing, that time release study by itself already showing up a lot of issues that needs to be addressed. So the way we're addressing it is through different type of programs they're doing and through policy dialogue with the government of Mongolia. So all the study will give us, as well as BCM, good evidences that you can use them in lobbying for the better business environment in Mongolia. But in our case, we have programs which are focusing on export development. We have from the World Bank a big project on export development program, which definitely the TRS study will be good inputs to for that. So in fact, yes, we are using it, and we are using it a lot. And that's the whole purpose of that. But it's not only for the World Bank use. I think my point, and Gigi, as I said, will give you detail. This is a public document. So that could be used by governmental officials, by government itself, by the World Bank, other international partners, and by private sector itself. I hope it's helpful answer.
Okay. Paul, we have received one question really related when the portal will go live, what's the comprehensive maintenance plan in coming years? And can you already mentioned in the presentation, but quickly if you can comment, and then I have also one question.
Okay, so for the first year through until the end of October 2021, hosting and ICT maintenance is covered by the World Bank. So that gives a year for Mongolian Customs Service to adapt and look at long-term funding. Some of our staff, as I say, will still be present in December and January to help, not all, but some. But the function of Nathan at this point is to hand over a functional portal to train staff. The long-term viability is something that needs to be sorted out. It's actually not an issue with Nathan, it's for the Mongolian government to decide, but I've got a year to work it through. So I won't say any more on that because it's actually outside the area I'm really qualified to talk in.
Thank you. Paul, I have a question to you. One thing, for example, this trade information portal basically provides all the information as is, yeah? What are the current rules and regulations? But I think for Mongolia, as you have observed, it's a very, how to say, trade-dependent country. And then is there any feature like which, for example, which says that okay, for example, for goods and certain equipment based on local demand, and then based on let's say export guidelines, are there any, how to say, trade promotion kind of feature? Basically, this is something which offers good opportunities for traders in terms of export and import. You know what I mean? So basically, is there any, how to say, feature which provides promotion features of the trade?
No, there isn't. But they typically get added over time to a portal. The portal, as per the agreement, only covers the current legal environment with the ability to add in legal requirements and to amend them as they go. It's not designed as a promotional site, but what we've seen in other jurisdictions is over time people add those features themselves, which is very, very straightforward to do. But as a portal, no, it only covers the current legal environment. It doesn't promote goods, but you can add content to it. You can add news releases. You can add product types that you'd like to promote. That's all sits within what the government departments would like to do themselves. But we don't start off adding any of that in. But yes, you can add it.
I think we are coming to the end of our event, and then unless if there are no other questions, we are wrapping up our monthly meeting. And then I would like to express BCM gratitude to World Bank team, IFC team, also Paul, Gigi, and then Dashtembrel for active participation. And then we definitely wait for Mongolian Trade Information Portal go live on December 11th. And then we look forward working with you further on addressing investors' concerns, and then working towards improving Mongolia's business environment. And then thank you very much. And then Gigi, Andrei, would you like to have a few words for the closing?
Just a couple of words from my side. First of all, thank you for this opportunity again. I think there are some questions also that already been asked is showing a great interest from the BCM members. I would encourage all BCM members actually who are interested in what we are doing as a World Bank Group to ensure that they look at our website, dedicated website for Mongolia, and also on our Facebook page. And that's where you can find up-to-date information, including you can subscribe to our newsletter. And then you will be being up to date of everything that the World Bank Group is supporting in Mongolia. Thanks again, and stay healthy these days.
Well, I think we've done our part already, and I think it was a very great event. Despite of COVID, personally, I'm quite delighted to have the portal being opened on December 11th. Usually it takes, as Paul mentioned, several months, more lengthier processes. But I hope also to see Paul someday in Mongolia as well, because we started the whole process in March of this year, and he wasn't even able to visit Mongolia. Anyhow, thank you very much.